Welcome back, my friends, to TFT Hyperroll with Artark as we continue to explore builds that are not Infiniteam for the moment. We'll get back to it very shortly because it can't be avoided. No matter how much they think they nerfed it, yeah, it didn't just work out that way. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, do stuff that helps the YouTube algorithm. There's a lot of you who are returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, so now's a good time to do so. And now, let's get into this. Since I got an early LeBlanc out of the NPC round, I actually rolled to see if I can find a Blitzcrank so I can find the A.D.M.I.N augments. Every 5 seconds, A.D.M.I.N gains 20 permanent health. Yeah, can't resist that, especially this early in the match. And this is going to be a long play strategy. Unlike Infiniteam, where you often jump out to an early lead, I'm not expecting that to happen here. Now, we get some really tempting choices here. I have trouble passing up on Living Forge, especially when it comes in the first round, because you're going to get additional A.D.M.I.N items every 4-player combat, so you're gonna end up with a lot of them. So right now my goal is just to build up my spell slingers, my A.D.M.I.Ns, but I'm not worried about winning early. I'm not expecting to. I just want my A.D.M.I.Ns to get as much health as possible. My main goal right now is get as many A.D.M.I.Ns out there as possible and have the fight last as long as possible. That's why I ended up with the Infinity Force on Camille, because she is going to disarm people with her ult, which will make everything last a little bit longer. I'm actually surprised that I'm able to pull this one out with a victory. And win or lose this early for this comp, it just doesn't matter. It's really about how long I can keep everyone up. And I'd rather have a 2-star Blitz because he would hold up longer, but Camille does a good job of holding up through at least 3 increases in health, and LeBlanc all the way until the end, so she gets maximum health out of that. The carousel gave us a training dummy, so I just stuck that in front along with an Annie who can take the initial aggro. That will allow my A.D.M.I.Ns to, again, just hold on as long as possible. We're playing the long game here, and I don't necessarily expect to win now. If it happens, great. If not, as long as I made it far enough into the match, I'm pretty good to go. For an item choice, I am just going to stick with the Health Bonanza and throw a Warmogs onto Blitz. Chance to 2-star the Annie. At this point, it's just more meat out front while I continue to build up my A.D.M.I.Ns. Now, Gary was nice enough to give me a 2-star Lee Sin in the shop, so I've locked for that so I can get Lee Sin in after this round, which will tick Brawler for Blitz, thereby adding a little more health on top of the health. But the key is here again, we're lasting until the end of the fights, which means my A.D.M.I.Ns just keep gaining more health. Yeah, we're losing, but there's a purpose. So a couple of things, we got our A.D.M.I.N item, and it was the Collector, so that ended up in LeBlanc, which combines beautifully with Thrill of the Hunt because she will now be executing people who are below 12% and then getting 550 health back whenever she does it. Now, obviously, I would not suggest trying to force this build or doing anything unless it just falls into place, because you're taking a lot of risks. You're giving up your entire early game, getting it to the point that when you get to late game, you have just 2 lives left, and that assumes you make it through mid game without losing anything, because just like that, we're down to 12 health overall. Now, the NPC round gave us some interesting directions to consider. We're still in a lot of trouble, but we've picked up Vex and Pyke, so we could end up with Renegade built into this as well, which could also lead to Hacker simply because when you bring in Zac, he can become a Hacker if you put him near Pyke. But as you can see, the situation's a little bit desperate as we are down to 8 health. Being able to 2-star the Pyke and the Vex makes me pretty confident that I'm going to be heading into a Riftwalker direction along with my admin, but I have to survive that long, and this fight just does not look that good. Although they're able to last in a long time for their health, I'm counting on LeBlanc to finish this off. Luckily, we have Thrill of the Hunt, and that keeps her in it and allows us to not die. Final augment, and it is hero augment time. It's offering us 3s, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go ahead, take the LeBlanc augment, and that will duplicate whatever champion is closest to me. I could go into Hacker, but I don't really feel I have the team for it, so I want to bring Zac down close to Vex. Now, one thing I'm curious about is, will LeBlanc duplicate Zac, or will she duplicate Blitz, because she's going to duplicate someone. Our goal now is to make Blitz our main tank, get some damage out of Jhin, Last Whisper on him, Sunfire Cape, and Gargoyle Stoneplate onto Blitz, so he is our tank. And the answer is LeBlanc does not duplicate Zac. I was hoping, but I knew it was too good to be true, but that still does leave us with 2 Vexes, and Vex is a fairly good unit, and you can see the tide is somewhat changing. We went ahead and moved Blitz down next to LeBlanc, so she'll be cloning Blitz since he has the most health on our team, which will just let more tankage out in front to hold things up. LeBlanc has an Archangel staff, so she is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as the match goes on, and as you can see, finish it off. We found ourselves a little werewolf, so we can now go to the 4 admin, but which one to choose? I'm very torn between the 40 mana and the 250 health. If I take the 40 mana, it will mean essentially LeBlanc will cast instantly, but it's hard to resist healing 250 health every 5 seconds, especially now that I have a gold 3-star LeBlanc. Item-wise, I'm really looking for Jhin items, and none of these are it. I have a ton of AP coming out of the backline with LeBlanc, so I don't necessarily need it. I could get the Thieves' Gloves for Warwick, but ultimately a blue buff on Vex is just a little too tempting to pass on. Inside the Anvil, at least we get the Giant Slayer, which we can put on Jhin. We've been loading up Camille with our other Ornn items. She now has a Death's Defiance along with her Infinity Force, so she's getting pretty tanky with the health, slower damage reduction, and the Omnivant from that Death Defiance. And as you can see, we've really found our groove now, with the front line being able to hold things up, and LeBlanc with the Archangel staff, she just gets infinitely stronger as it goes on. Sorry to use infinitely, I feel like that has to be reserved for Infiniteam, but it doesn't. And notice how LeBlanc is able to pretty much wipe out the entire backline on her own and destroy the damage charts. Taking us now into the top 4, which is a long way from the last place position we were in just a few minutes ago. So I hope I'm not overselling it in saying I think this is the wildest fight I've had all season, because it starts off not looking good. Yes, my tanks are holding up, but Zac's down, then before too long, Camille is down, then Blitz's clone is down. I still have my Vex, Jhin, and my main tank, but they have so much power. They get through and just start wiping it out, but LeBlanc says, no, 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 no. I will not lose. I found a Leona and decided to put her in to trigger Renegade. It's not going to be a huge buff at 3, but at least it's better than nothing. We pick up the Morellonomicon for Vex, since she will hit multiple targets, and anti-heal is never a bad thing. I consider the Hextech Gunblade for Vex, but decide, you know what, Hand of Justice on Jhin will be more effective, since he will likely be the last Renegade standing, and we'll get a power spike as a result if all the other Renegades go down. So I'd like him to be as strong as possible, because him, along with LeBlanc, has the best chance of wiping out opposing teams' backline. You can see it's already getting much easier. It is time for the final Ornn item, and we're going to go ahead and get Randian Sanctum, which will go on our holder of all things Ornn, Camille, but it will change how we're set up as we want to gather everyone around Camille, although we're keeping her in the front line because we want Blitz to be duplicated. So right now we have a really strong center, and then the rest of the team is doing the damage that will hopefully take everything down. And although it's not a huge amount, remember we're still gaining 20 health, well actually a little bit more because it's up by 25%, but we're gaining that health every 5 seconds along with healing. So the team just continues to become a little bit stronger each round we go through. It's now down to a 1v1, and we check in on the opposing team, and it is such an interesting combination as they have combined Anima Squad along with Riftwalker. So they have made them very strong and given them a really, really strong front line. Look, 3-star Silas, 3-star Riven, 3-star Nasus, 3-star Jinx. That is a lot of gold champions that we have to choose through. And we're dealing with double lockets, Dragon's Claw, and a misfortune with a Giant Slayer. So she does have a team wiping ult, which is part of the reason our backline is separated. We don't want to get caught in that. But LeBlanc is really the secret weapon here because she can heal and take things out all at once. Now these are two teams that are running the same general principle, which is really, really tanky frontline, really strong backline. Their team would normally wipe other teams out, but look at the health bar on our LeBlanc, look at the health bar on our Blitz. We are very difficult to get through, and because we have the Archangel staff on LeBlanc, she just keeps picking up power. And remember, she casts additional after a kill. So once she knocks someone down, she moves on to the next target, and it's GG for everyone. Infiniteam is not the only option out there, but you gotta take some risks in order to get away from it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a try if it all works out just right, and as always, have an absolutely, absolutely awesome day.